The Trojans, they kept another one at home, and this is a huge recruit, massive. So big, it was felt all the way across over in SEC country. Oh, and in 89 days, USC kicks off against Missouri State, beat the Bears.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thanks for making Locked On USC. It's part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. You know the role. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's free. You can download this podcast anywhere. It's free. And you always know how much I appreciate your support. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com, and you're going to get 50% off your first year. Trojan family, welcome to June. Yeah, we're here. Year is halfway over. And you know what? It's official visit season. And you know what else is happening? The Trojans class of 2026, their recruiting class, kicking butt, taking names. Georgia and Texas are two of the latest that are complaining about how USC is using their NIL, how well they're recruiting. House of Victory is making offers no one wants to refuse. So while Texas and Georgia fans, they were taking turns trying to qualify for the Message Board Genius Award, USC and the Trojan family, they're celebrating the commitment of the #1 tight end in the country, Mark Bowman, also from Mater Dei High School, local product. Staying home. Huge. So prior to Bowman dropping the kaboom before the weekend started last Friday, late afternoon, USC's 2026 recruiting class, it kind of dipped back into the #2 spot. That was a result of their #1 cornerback in the country, R.J. Sermon's reclassifying, jumping into USC's 2025 recruiting class. So there was an opening. And Bowman, he didn't waste any time. Did not waste much time at all. In fact, a few days later, after R.J. Sermons became a member of USC's 2025 roster, Mark Bowman, the tight end from Mater Dei, yeah, he surprised everyone and committed to the Trojans. Well, I shouldn't say he surprised everyone. USC wasn't surprised. Jaja, Longhorns, they're faithful. They felt like though they were the teams to beat. Everyone thinking, this is going to be a Georgia-Texas battle. I told you last week on Locked On USC, this is why you should be watching the show every day. If you're watching on YouTube, click that red subscribe button, click that bell notification button. You're not going to miss anything. Smash that thumbs up. It means a lot to the show. Anyways, I told you guys last week that it was going to be a USC versus Texas battle. So Mark's commitment really wasn't a surprise to Trojan fans, especially once you listen to the show daily. Now, I even said last week, USC feels really strongly. They feel like they're in a really good place for Mark Bowman, that they're going to get his commitment eventually. The surprise, I think, to everybody, maybe not everybody at USC, was the timing of his announcement. It kind of came out of nowhere, like again, late Friday news dump. Myself, as well as others, close to the situation, felt that, Mark was going to go through that, the whole recruiting process, take his official visits, then make his intentions known after the fact. It's safe to assume that he's only taken one official visit now. It's going to be to USC. Bowman understands, he knows the policy. Quote, when you're in, you're all in, right? That's it. When you commit to USC, their 2026 recruiting class, you're done. The process is over. There's no need for you to think about it. No need for you to take any more visits. On3 industry, #1 ranked tight end, Mark Bowman, has abruptly shut down his recruitment and committed to USC. That was according to On3 last Friday. I mentioned before the story broke, again, that proximity was going to play a role. His grandfather lives in San Diego. So everyone kind of knew proximity, and that USC was going to give him a great NIL package. So this is what On3 reported when they broke the news Friday afternoon. From proximity to home, program prestige, and NIL opportunities, USC separated over the last couple of weeks and now adds Bowman to a class that previously ranked number 2 in the country. I explained why they were number 2. Quote, "We couldn't be more excited," Bowman's father, Kirk, said. "Excited he's in a place in Southern California he loves. The school, from an academic standpoint, it's a top university. The alumni network, the power and influence checks all the boxes. It's the Big Ten. Has a lot of family here. Grandfather is a huge influence on him. It checks all the boxes, and amazing how it all came together," end quote. Now, Chad recently spoke with Chad Simmons from On3, and this is what he said when he spoke to him. Quote, "It's so different with USC right now. It has changed a lot over the last year. And since then, they've made a lot of changes. They've been recruiting much harder the last few months. It's every day with USC now, and that has changed things with me with them. I like what the staff is doing, their energy, and they are so close to home, too." There it is. It kind of explains to you why he chose USC. Proximity, the prestige, the alumni network, the academics, NIL. It's giving him everything he needs, everything he wants. There's no reason to go explore what Texas is going to offer, go explore what Georgia is going to offer. If you are a wearesc.com subscriber, then you heard our recruiting expert, our guru over there, Scott Schrader, speculate on the NIL package. It's significant, is all I'm going to say. If you want to, kind of get a feel of what's being talked about, get on over there. The number is staggering, but yeah, I'm telling you right now, there are going to be guys going to the NFL with enough money that they can retire before they even get to the NFL if they invest their money wisely. It's crazy the types of dollar figures that are being thrown around right now. I told you, this guy is like a Brock Bowers type of talent. And he's from Brock Bowers was from Northern California. He ended up going to Georgia. First round draft pick. Really, really, really good player. Charles Powers is the scouting director for On3. This is his analysis of Mark Bowman. "Is the best route running tight end prospect I've evaluated to this point in my career. Yeah. He has elite change of direction, which allows him to effortlessly create separation within his routes. We've had a chance to see Bowman in person a bunch over the past 2 years, and he's impressed in every setting. He has the ability to threaten all levels of the field as a pass catcher. Bowman has also added good weight this offseason and is a chiseled 6'4.5", 230 pounds. He's also an active physical blocker and has the upside of being an every down tight end who can play inline or flexed out. We expect Bowman to immediately contribute for the Trojans. Bowman is a massive get for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans. He projects as an offensive weapon in Riley's scheme, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him make an instant impact despite reclassifying," end quote. So there you have it. He is a talent. He is a massive talent, and he's coming to USC. The last time USC had a tight end ranked this high, again, from Orange County, Orange Lutheran, Blake Ailes. He didn't quite live up to his billing. Nevertheless, USC's bringing in another one of those types of talents. The potential with Mark Bowman is, I don't know if there is a ceiling. He's that good. And the impact he has, not just with this class, but classes going forward. Modern Day is loaded in 2027 as well. And he's going to have an influence with the 2026 class with some of the guys he plays with 7-on-7, that type of stuff. So we'll talk about more. We'll talk more about that this week. But I think everybody needed to hear where USC is at, how things are going. And right now things are going really well. Mark Bowman's the latest. It was one of those Bowman booms. USC's tight end and inside wide receiver coach, Chad Savage, he made Mark his top priority this recruiting cycle. Remember, he was one of the last coaches brought on, and he's known as a recruiter. Well, just to kind of remind everybody, USC wasn't really considered the favorite going into the summer, getting Bowman's commitment. But because of Chad Savage, because of Chad Bowden and Lincoln Riley, USC made that huge push, and look what happened. So again, between the two Chads, Lincoln Riley, everyone made sure, including the Bowman family, that they understood USC is the place to be. And I loved this comment from Tampa Trojan Forever, one of the everydayers of the show, and he hangs out over there as a VIP subscriber at wearesc.com. Shout out to our staff for reestablishing the vital connection to modern day. If someone would have said 6 months ago, we would have firm commitments from Mark Bowman, Tom, and Sean Scott by the end of May, nobody would have believed it. Well, he's right. And that's why I was reading, those notes there about Chad Savage and Chad Bowden, how much work they've had to put in, how much ground they've made up since they've been here. Look what's happened. I should also add, this is, kind of a little bit of a footnote to Mark Bowman's recruitment, and I don't know how much of an impact he had. However, modern day's coach, Raul Lara, Long Beach Poly's former head coach, he gets the whole pipeline to USC dynamic and why it's important for the local prospects to stay home. There's no reason to go anywhere else when USC can give you everything you need. So now you have it. You got Mark Bowman in the fold, and that makes 3 for modern day. You got Tom, who USC flipped from Oregon. You've got the linebacker, edge rusher, Sean Scott. Now Mark Bowman. But USC isn't going to get everyone. We already know that. But that's a pretty good haul right now, right? And the guys, as I mentioned just a moment ago, the guys in the 2027 class who play at modern day, they're pretty stoked with what's going on at USC right now. So good things happening now. More good things to come. In fact, in 2 weeks. Stay tuned. Second segment coming up next. Ever look at your bank account and wish, God, I need more money? I do it frequently. I always want more money. I'm saying, where did it go? What did I spend it on this time? Well, I probably ate out, probably did a little bit of shopping, probably getting my flights arranged ahead of time, and boom, there you go. Money's gone. But this is where Monarch Money comes in. It's like having your own personal chief financial officer. It's going to give you full visibility and total control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, as well as all of your spending habits all in one place. So now you can stop managing your money, start building your wealth. You're going to love the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps on your phone, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, plan some long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. In 2 weeks, kaboom. Yeah. That's the thread that Scott Schrader started over there. My other place that I work when I'm not here at Locked on USC. That's the thread. Nothing more, just quote, 2 weeks, and he had that hydrogen bomb exploding GIF. It's spelled GIF. How do you pronounce this? Is it GIF or is it GIF? I think it's soft graphic, but anyways, someone let me know. So you got official visits coming up. And right now, things are really fluid. I mean, guys are kind of moving their visits up, back. Kind of hard to keep track. with that said, I know there's some noise that a couple of guys are moving their official visits up. Guys who are already committed. But this class right now, I'm telling you, they're at 27 commitments with Bowman's attachment. They're going to be close to that 35 number by the time June is over. In fact, they might go over that number. I don't know the way things are going. I'll say this. I will not be shocked if the class is done by the time June 30th rolls around. Oh, and you're watching this episode on Monday, June 2nd. Tomorrow, Jet Washington, the safety from Las Vegas, Nevada, he's taking his official visit to USC for a couple days. Then I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown who's coming for their official visits. And that might give you an idea, possibly, maybe, who's going to be that kaboom in 2 weeks. So you got Jet Washington on the 3rd. And then on the weekend starting June 6th, so this coming weekend, and again, guys have been shifting their visits around. So this list is, it could be static. Guys could be adding, guys could be removing themselves. As of right now, listed, this is what I know. You've got cornerback Elbert Hill, wide receiver Booby Feaster. I love that name, Booby. Wide receiver Jalen Lott, his sister runs track at USC. Wide receiver Trent Mosley, Samotic Kadanga, the defensive end and Trent Mosley's teammate at Santa Margarita. You've got running back Sean Alston. You have linebacker Favor Aki from the state of Ohio. USC's recruiting him as a linebacker, everybody else as a running back. So I'm wondering if this has a little bit of that Alan Bradford feel to it. You've got cornerback Peyton Dyer, state of Georgia, and then local athlete Josh Holland, and committed wide receiver Roderick Tizeno from Louisiana. So out of that group, 6 of them are already committed to USC. I mentioned Elbert Hill, Trent Mosley, Samote, Sean Alston, and Josh Holland, and Roderick Tizeno. Out of that 6, out of that entire group, I think you're going to get one more. One more is going to end up wearing cardinal and gold. The following weekend, Father's Day weekend, 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. Luke Wafel from the Hun School, New Jersey. You have defensive lineman Titan Davis, St. Louis, Missouri. You got Braden Jones, committed defensive end from Chicago, Illinois. Offensive lineman Eason Tafa. I got a note about him coming up here in a second. Wide receiver Madden Williams, St. John Bosco. Offensive lineman Cannon Smith, state of Colorado. And you got a tight end. I hope I'm pronouncing this correct. Amani Purcell. He's a tight end, and he plays at Kamehameha High School in Hawaii. By the way, have any of you ever seen their campus? Where it's located? Oh my God. Crazy. It's up on this hilltop. It's owned by obviously it's fully endowed. It's owned by the Hawaiian royal family, Kamehameha. And yeah, they have this view of the entire island and then the Pacific Ocean. And just before you get to the Pacific Ocean, it's all the hotels. It's almost like looking down on the peasants. It's crazy. The facility's amazing. But I digress. Back to June. It's going to be a busy month. Tons of official visits. Elite camps. You got taking place at USC. You got Elite 11 stuff going on. And then in July, you're going to have Media Day, Fall Camp. That June 17th official visit date, I mentioned, some of the guys in the past who are supposed to be there. I think those are the guys, some of them from there, like Kine Pepe, he might be moving his around. Same thing with Talanoa Ely, not quite sure. But again, 2 weeks, USC is getting a big-time recruit. I can't tell you who it is, but I can tell you you're going to like it. If you guys want to guess, you can guess. I'm not going to confirm one way or the other. Nevertheless, USC's recruiting class, it's going to continue to solidify its number one ranking. Let's just leave it there. All right, we got one more segment to go. I told you last week we're going to try something here. We're new, especially during this off-season part, going into June and July. We're going to try something new. Do a little Monday mailbag every third segment, and I'll talk about other stuff that's taken place over the weekend. So, send in your questions, whatever you want me to talk about. If it's interesting, I'll bring it up here on the show. We're going to do that next. By the way, I should have mentioned this in the first segment when I was telling you about Mark Bowman's commitment. USC is having a really good time right now. You want to know how good USC is feeling? They are literally flexing and they're trolling. This time they had Oregon in their sights. Took aim, and it was a direct hit. I mean, it was a cannon shot, direct hit. As you know, last week I interviewed Madden Reardon on the show. Go check it out. It was fantastic. I mentioned Isun Tafa in the previous segment. I'll be interviewing him this week, so something to look forward to later this week. Anyways, I was interviewing Madden Reardon, and his teammate at Sierra Canyon is defensive lineman Richard Wesley. Right? He was supposed to be class of 2027. He reclassified. USC would like him, but he's all about NIL. He's trying to get as much as he can, and USC doesn't know if he'll really be ready to contribute in 2026 when he arrives. I'm not saying he won't, but USC's just trying. They're running it like a business right now, and if NIL bag is first and foremost with him, they don't have room for him in the class. Anyways, point being, Richard Wesley, he had that awkward, abrupt commitment to Oregon where he and, Oregon's head coach, Dan Lanning, did that cannonball jump into a pool. I talked about it. You might have seen it on social media. A little bit of a cringe thing there with the head coach ripping off his shirt and jumping into a pool with a 16-year-old. Anyways, USC took full advantage of the situation because if you're not aware, Richard Wesley is no longer committed to Oregon. His father put the kibosh on that. He's like, you know what? We weren't ready for him to commit. Kind of caught us by surprise. So they pulled back. Said, yeah, we're still very interested in Oregon. We're going to take our visits, but we're not going to be committed right now. So setting that whole thing up. Now you understand the premise behind this. Most of you know Will Ferrell, super fan of USC, alumni, funny dude, makes lots of movies, including Anchorman, Ron Burgundy. Yeah, you know the character I'm talking about. So USC put out the most savage troll post ever. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a school do this, but they literally said, "Hey, Oregon, check this out." It had Ron Burgundy doing that breaking news story from Anchorman. Late breaking news, everybody, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden it shows him doing the cannonball dive off the diving board. It was like, hey, Oregon, check this out. We got a commitment. I mean, even some of the Oregon fans are like, okay, that was funny. You got us. They understood. There's times you just have to kind of sit there and go, yeah, that one hit. That one smacked. Felt it. All right. So I should have brought that up during the Mark Bowman segment, but to me that was hysterical. I can watch it 100 more times. That's how funny it is. All right. So let's do some Monday's mailbag, other observations. By the way, by the time I'm recording the show, USC's baseball team, they were still one win away from making their 32nd Super Regional. Yeah, USC is 2-0 in the regional. They're going to play the winner of Oregon State and St. Mary's. USC just has to win one more game, and they're off to the Super Regional. The Trojans, the last time they won a national championship in baseball was 1998. But that was their 12th. USC's baseball team doing pretty good right now. They might be in that zone. If they get into that Super Regional, I'm telling everybody, watch out. They've got what it takes. So USC had that 6-4 win over St. Mary's on, was it Saturday? Yep. USC is advancing to the finals in Corvallis. And again, they're playing either the Gales from St. Mary's or Oregon State, because both of those guys have one loss. The winner between that game is going to play USC. If USC gets to the Super Regionals, first time since 2005, in 20 years. It's time to break that slump, Mark Grace style. All right, so everyone agrees. Let's get back to football. USC playing a game on a Friday night is lame. It's even lamer when you're playing it in Los Angeles. It's not just me saying that. One of the show's everyday viewers, listeners, his name is Asian Wolf, like dog, Wolf. He said this, and I wholeheartedly agree with what he has to say. The people who schedule Friday night games in Los Angeles ought to be forced to drive through rush hour from Santa Monica to downtown LA at 5:30 p.m. for an entire week. You know how far it is from Santa Monica to downtown LA? Like 10 miles. You know how long it takes you to get there? About 10 hours. Well, a little hyperbole, but you get the point. If you've ever made that trek, you will truly understand how painful that can be. It's just a shot up the 10 freeway. But literally, I would probably rather have somebody pluck out my eyelashes one hair at a time. That would be less painful than trying to drive from Santa Monica to USC during rush hour on a Friday. The reason I'm reading this next comment about the Friday night game is mostly because I love this poster's name. So Dusty Buttcheeks said, I love that name, Dusty Buttcheeks. Yes, fight on. Kudos to you, man. Anyways, he said, quote, Friday night lights are for high school games, end quote. He's right. I doubt you will ever see any of the major Texas programs, high school programs, I don't think you'll see any of the major Texas college football programs playing on a Friday night, stealing the thunder away from those high school teams. If you know Texas high school football, you understand it is a religion. It's a culture. I mean, some of the stadiums out there, they are bigger than some of the Division I programs. And that's not hyperbole. We're talking $100 million facilities that can seat up to, 40, 50,000 people per game. No joke. It's crazy how much they love their high school football in Texas. All right, last thing before we get out of here. This one comes from Emmanuel Moreno, 3737. He wrote this. Man, Mark, you're on a kick-ass roll. The last 6 shows have been great, including this one. I really enjoyed the collaboration you did with Notre Dame. So on that, I want to say, thank you, obviously. I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, later this week, I'll be doing another collaboration. I'll be interviewing Isun Tafa, the offensive lineman commit, state of Utah, getting ready to take his official visit. So we're going to talk to him, find out what made him say, you know what, USC is the place to be. And to my viewers, my listeners, if there's others out there who you want me to interview on the show, and maybe you can help facilitate that, let me know. Let's make it happen. I'll do it. All right. That's it for this episode of Locked on USC. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow. Something's coming up. I'll have something to talk about. Definitely telling you about what happened in the baseball game. Maybe USC's already off to the Super Regionals. All right. Until that next episode, everyone. Don't forget, when you're done watching Locked On USC first every day, check out the Portal Show with Brian Smith on YouTube. Really good stuff. I know you're big fans when he comes on the show. And then when you're all done with your Locked On Phil, get over there to wearesc.com. Lots of stuff. Scott Schrader is dropping nuggets. And you don't want to miss any of that. So until that next episode, everyone, you know what to do.